Hey, this is Laura with Branson Cerakote and Laser and Applicator Hangout. I'm here today with Jackie and Mike, and they are from Ozark Shoot Don't Shoot. And we're going to learn a little bit about their business and some more things about how they run their business, because this is a really interesting business. I met them actually at a gun show. They had their entire setup set up, and were letting gun show people come and practice. It was amazing. So you guys want to tell us a little bit about what exactly is Ozark Shoot Don't Shoot?
Well, Ozark Shoot Don't Shoot Solutions is a training company in which we instruct people when to shoot and when not to shoot and what the ramifications are. And we use a fantastic tool called a simulator. It just happens to be a Milo shooting simulator. And we use guns, rifles, we have tasers, OC. So we instruct law enforcement, church security, civilians. We do team building for corporations. And we put people in front of a big screen with a laser shooting weapon, non recoil, no live ammo, and we have them interact with a scenario. It might be fun, it might be serious. And we give them the challenge to either verbalize and de escalate, or if they have to shoot at the last resort, they have to survive. And so they take each scenario one at a time, and we have a debriefing after that and talk about the options that they had in that specific scene. It's very realistic with language and visual blood, and so it's as close as you can get to a real event.
Wow. It was exciting because when I did it at the gun show the one time, I was so nervous. Like, I know it's not real. I know this isn't a real gun, but when you're in the moment of doing it, all of a sudden it really does make you feel like you're there, and the fact that, oh my gosh, you think about in the back of your mind, shoot, don't shoot. And you're
Correct.
like, oh, I don't need to shoot this person because it's not a video game. These are very real life scenarios.
Exactly.
So, how do you come up with these scenarios?
Well, we got a lot of them, all of them, over 1,000 of them from the company that came with the Milo simulators. We have two, by the way. One travels and one is stationary at our shoot room in Highlandville. But what we really concentrate on is your critical decision making. Not really accuracy. You learn that at the range.
Mm-hmm.
This is much different than the range. The simulators are stress induced, as is a real event. You go to the range, you just shoot a bunch of poor little steel targets and some paper targets. They're not charging you, they're not yelling at you, they're not shooting at you like in a real event.
Mm-hmm.
This puts you in a real event so much, and after a half an hour or so, your brain is tricked and you think it's real.
Yeah. Yeah. I can see that. So, how popular has that been here in the Ozarks?
Jackie, you want to go
I
there with
think a
that?
lot of people that are new gun owners, they are becoming more aware that this is a need that they need to have. Find out if they can shoot a weapon or not shoot a weapon, or if they could carry. So that's really crucial.
Well, and speaking of new gun owners, I think that's a really good point because having a gun in your home, if you've never had a gun in your home, is stress inducing right there. Because if you're not comfortable with that, and then if somebody really does break into your home, you have had practice. You know what to do, what not to do, how to react, and you're not scared because you've trained for it.
And
Well,
like Mike would say too, is if they're not shooting, he'll take them back and say, "Is that your sister? Would that if that's your husband? Is that your wife? Would you shoot then?"
Mm-hmm.
And most of them will say, "Yes, I would."
Yeah.
So you have to train as if it's a real event.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. So, Mike, tell me a little bit more. You told me the other day that you worked with law enforcement, and how impressed they are with your system. So do you travel to them? Do they come to you? How does that work?
We do go to them. A few of them, small agencies, come to us because it's more economically feasible
Hmm.
because our shoot room is very large, and they love it. I grew up in law enforcement with what they called the firearms training system. That was the initial simulator. This is like a grandson uh, of that from the 1980s, and this is has less restrictions and of course more high tech, and just everybody loves it. But law enforcement and military have had this type of training for decades. This is new to the civilian market. And with today's world, the way it's going, people now realize there's not enough soldiers and law enforcement out there to protect them. So they are just a reactionary location, a reactionary force to come to make the report afterwards.
Sure.
You have to react within seconds, within a couple of minutes, be it an active shooter, be it a home intrusion, a robbery. Uh, Things happen within seconds, and critical decision making in that split second is what we're talking about.
Well, and that brings up a really good point. Talking about that critical split decision. You can be in Walmart and there could be an active shooter. You're just shopping. You're not expecting anything like that. And for especially now when with the conceal and carry, I know like in Missouri, a lot of conceal and carries going on. It's a great training to know how to react in that situation because now you're just not in your home and it's you and an intruder. You're in an entire store. And how are you going to react? What a great training tool that is.
Exactly. And how do you react with friendlies in a store, in a
Mm-hmm.
church? If
Mm-hmm.
you're on a security team at a church, which
Mm-hmm.
we train a lot of those, uh, we are actually on a large team at a local church. So we not only train people how to do it, we do it ourselves every week.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's very important that you realize what your background is, what is behind the potential target, because you could have a so-called good shoot where you do hit the bad guy, but you may hit a innocent person, and
Mm-hmm.
then you have a big civil, possible criminal problem.
Right.
So, and then what do you say after the
Right.
event to law enforcement? What
Right.
do you say on 911?
Yeah.
All that happens while you're in shock. So we go over that. When to talk, what to say, who to say it to, and who not to.
Boy, that's really good. I mean, I don't think many people would even think about. They would.
No,
They're just thinking about the shooting part of it. Do I shoot? Do I not shoot? Put in as a scenario. But you're right. There's all the aftermath that goes with it.
exactly, because nowadays everything's recorded or you have witnesses. All that goes into the investigations that the grand jury looks at, the head detective, the prosecutor. And after being in law enforcement for 40 years plus, I know what they're looking for. So we both know what to instruct the potential victim, the defender of their home, their family, their church, what they should say, what they shouldn't say, and to recommend what type of insurance to have in case they get into a shooting incident.
Oh, that's invaluable information right there. Wow.
Yeah, a lot of people don't seem to realize that they need that and not just a regular attorney.
Well, sure. I mean, because if you have somebody in your home and they die in your home, oh my goodness. I mean, you just open up a whole can of worms of investigations and the whole 9 yards. And you're right, knowing what to say, when to say it, who to say it to, it goes a long way.
It does, and your home insurance is not going to cover you.
Wow.
A lot of people think so.
I did not know that.
It won't.
So, what do you do? I mean,
Well, there's a number of insurance organizations that you can research and look at. There's a certain one that's good for law enforcement being in uniform, certain one for those that are out of uniform. And so do the research. What fits your family and your profession the best is the one that you want to have for yourself.
that's really good information right there.
Yes.
Wow. I mean, my takeaway right there. Because I did not know that. I just would assume that your home insurance would
No.
No.
Yeah,
Okay.
we've talked to several people and in business and just customers, and they have no clue. They
Yeah.
think they're the same thing, that their insurance is
Sure.
going to take care of them. Or yeah, I know this attorney well. No, he
Yeah.
has to be homicide attorney.
Wow. Okay. No, there's a lot more to this than I thought.
Yeah, yeah. We tell people, do you really want a dentist to operate on your heart?
No.
Do you want a ticket attorney to take care of your homicide case and you're the homicide suspect?
Yeah. No.
You want a vetted homicide attorney that has experience.
Wow. Wow. So I've got this question that I've been wondering. How exactly did you get into this business?
Well, I've had a dream for 35 years after I saw the firearms training system, the FATS, back in the 1980s to do this sort of work. And so it was too expensive back then, and I was not ready. So in 2014, Jackie and I got married, and we fell into a situation where we could get a Milo simulator. So she came in with me full partner, and my dream was fulfilled. And she's been my partner. She runs the computer, although we're both Milo instructors. We're certified in that with the company, and we just had a blast. It was a little slow the first year or two, but now everything's really picking up. We have repeat clients, and we're traveling to different states, and we're going to gun shows and conferences, and we're meeting a lot of great people. And with the situation, like I said, in the country, the need is there. People are realizing they have that need, and they come to us and look at the ammo cost savings.
Oh.
No ammo cost.
Oh,
You can
absolutely.
shoot 1,000 rounds, save $1,000.
Seriously,
Yes.
that's very good point. So you're based out of Highlandville. How far out do you travel to take your system?
Well, we like to stay around Arkansas and Oklahoma and Kansas and Missouri. We've gone to Texas. We may go to North Carolina next month. We go to conferences, others, but we try to stay in this area.
Sure, the traveling's hard. And does all this fit in just one trailer? I mean, how big is the system?
In our Traverse or our Hummer, everything
Okay.
fits there, depending on how much luggage we
Nice.
take.
So it's a collapsible system then.
Yes,
And
Nice.
very
When we-
portable. It takes about an hour to put up.
when we do the conferences, it's a lot of fun stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And so people sometimes just need to deflate, and this is a good tool.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. You probably have lines out the door waiting for people trying to try it out.
As a matter of fact, at church conferences, men and women's conferences, they're lined up for a complete 3 hours that we're up.
Wow.
They're continual.
Wow.
And the kids love it.
Sure.
Families love it.
Sure.
It's very safe.
Mhm.
And no matter what the weather is out there, we can put it up inside.
Oh, that's fantastic. I know that we've got some pictures that you sent us. Whitmore, can you put the pictures up for us and show us some of the pictures we've got? Because this is a really cool thing. No, what is this picture?
This is sort of a picture of a target. It is some fun stuff. You shoot only green targets, and this is what you see from the rear sight to the front sight on our SIRT pistol here. And you're shooting green targets only, and that shows you what happens when you hit them. We sight our shooters in, our trainees in, their eyes on their pistol, and they get to shoot on all this fun stuff. We have zombies, we have all kinds of kid stuff, targets, and so that kind of gives you a rear view mirror of what they
Nice.
see.
Well, that looks like fun. And does it pop up like different things, or?
We do
Is this-
have some pop-up, all kinds of pop-up circles, targets, silhouette targets. They're moving in villages. As we've got hundreds and hundreds of these type of situations.
Wow.
So this one is competition. It's
Okay.
timed.
Oh, wow. That's fun.
Yeah. So you have two shooters up there. The first shooter on the left shoots, and it may take them 21 seconds.
Right?
second shooter shoots 20 seconds, the other shooter,
They win.
that shooter wins.
Nice. What else you got here, Whitmore?
All right.
Okay.
That's a photo of Jackie and I set up to shoot a hostage taker at a school. Could be a church, but as a school. And it's up for the defenders of the school or the church to save the hostage. And so you only have a second to make a decision. If you don't pull the trigger and if you're not accurate, then the hostage dies in front of you. And you live with that.
Oh, wow.
For the rest of your life, it's branded in your brain.
Wow. Talk about serious. I mean,
It's serious.
oh.
We do
Wow.
train SROs, school resource officers,
Mm-hmm.
and they just love this type of training. And now we're even videotaping our own scenarios. We can go to schools, churches, companies for workplace violence, churches. So, and then we video at those locations. Then those teams can train in the area that they may have to react in.
I think that's amazing. I remember you telling me that once, that you actually go and film places, and do you have like people create the scenario, or are you able to do that computer generated? How do you do that?
We just talk it over and put it together and put some actors together, and we're kind of new at this.
Mm-hmm.
But so far we're doing pretty good, and we'll get better as we go along. And then we have control of those videos ourselves on our computer.
Nice.
No one else in the nation has it unless we sell them.
Wow.
So we come up with the scenarios. We have another associate, Bill, that helps with that too. He develops the scenario for us. So we just need the actors. We're going to go into a business on the 19th to do some filming.
Nice.
Yeah,
That's fantastic.
it's a salon. They have about 15 ladies there.
Mm-hmm.
They've had some problems in the past with situations.
Mm-hmm.
So we're going to film there. We've done some churches, and we're going to be doing some more law enforcement ones. And so we're going to see how that goes.
Well, I'm telling you, you think about today's climate. I mean, how many times do you hear about angry customers and just losing their mind? What a great way for businesses to train their employees to defend themselves. I mean, I know this is crazy, but I remember working at a place where they said if you see a shoplifter, you need to confront them. And I was thinking to myself, I don't think so. Because if that person is armed and I'm not, I don't think we're going to enter this situation. But that was their policy. And I know some employees did. And I'm like, that's very dangerous. I definitely think businesses could do a better job of helping their employees stay safe. And this is a great solution right here.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and also we have non-lethal weapons that they can be trained with.
Mm-hmm.
But also depending on where you're at, in Springfield or well, I won't say Houston or Austin, Texas, because those are big cities. But in big cities nowadays, you have mass shoplifting.
Oh,
You have invasions now
yes.
of groups. And so you definitely don't want to, as a civilian, get involved with that because it's very dangerous.
Mm.
Shoplifting has been turned into an organized criminal event. They're organizing those now. And that could happen anywhere, including Walmart, anywhere.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. You know, it is amazing when you see the videos of that going on. I'm telling you, if I was in that store as just a customer, I'd be scared to death. And what happens if somebody does point a gun at you?
Well,
You know,
if you have a weapon, you have a right to protect yourself. But you only protect life. You do not protect property in
Right.
this state using lethal weapons.
yeah, we've had a talk with that, several conversations with people because they're like, well, if they're taking my car, yeah, just let them take your car then.
Yes. Yeah.
You know, so this is a great training for that too, and a great conversation of when you need to use force and when.
Last resort, only when you have to protect life. But the ramifications are enormous.
Oh yeah.
Afterwards, 2021, now 2022. Hang on, folks. We don't know where we're going yet.
Oh, boy, isn't that the truth?
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't think it takes anybody with any kind of being around society to think and look and say things are getting worse, not better. And people are hostile, they're angry, and they don't know how to express it. And for some reason, there's a lot of entitlement going on that they're somehow owed. And those are the people who I think tend to get a little more irate and do things that probably they wouldn't normally do. And they may have a gun and they may come into your business. And you don't know. I mean, you hear these stories and you're just like, really? But it's happening and it's true.
Yes, it is.
So, wow. What more? Let's see what the next picture is, honey.
All right. This is a situation where a person tried to carjack somebody to take his car. He did have a weapon. He pulled it and he was shot. There's more to this video. And by the way, most of these videos have 2 or 3 endings that we can change at the last moment.
Oh, wow.
So this person could have complied,
Mm-hmm.
or he could have pulled his weapon like he did here. And so after each scenario, we do a debriefing,
Mm-hmm.
what in a real life you might have done.
Mm-hmm.
So this one's kind of involved where the individual up there that's about to fall back already had his hand on his gun. So would you actually go for your gun if the bad guy already had his hand on the gun? Probably not, because he's already a step ahead of you.
Mm-hmm.
But there's other options that you could have in this type of case. You might want to throw your keys down and let them grab the keys and you run away and get behind cover.
Mm-hmm.
So we talk about these options so that you can get away safely and not use your weapon unless it's the last resort.
So when we train, he's up front, so he sees how they're reacting. I'm on the computer, and I watch them too, so that helps to determine what branch we might use to see how they're going to react.
Oh, that's good.
And then we also, before they come in, we already ask questions and ask what type of work they do, what type of background. We also ask a question to make sure that we don't upset them, because a lot of these people, some of these people have had some traumas in their background, some memories, suicide in the family, or they've been attacked. We don't want to show them a video that is so real that they have a backlash, they have a PTSD type moment.
Mm-hmm.
So we try to recognize that and make sure, because we've had people that have been human trafficking victims, rape victims, assault victims, and sometimes that's why they come to us,
Sure.
because they don't want to be a victim again.
And it's not just them reacting to the video. As the instructors, we also feel what they're going through.
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
Sure. That has to affect you.
Yeah.
Well, I'm telling you, it makes me see what a big heart you have for people, that you would go to that point to really make sure that nobody is mentally harmed for all of this. That's really amazing. It's really
We
nice.
do care about our clients. That's why we have a lot of repeat clients. They come in time and time again. Over the last 3 years, we had dozens of people been there 3 and 4 times, because it's inexpensive. You're only looking at $40 an hour per person.
Oh, yeah.
If you have 2 people, that's $160 for 2 hours at no ammo cost.
Yeah.
That's 1 or 2 boxes of ammo.
Sure.
Period.
Sure. Well, and not only that, but what a great date night this would be. I mean,
Oh,
in
yeah.
all seriousness.
Yeah,
Oh.
we've had those.
Oh, I'm sure. I mean, you get a group of your friends together and y'all come out and do something like that.
Yes.
And not only that, but you'll be talking about that for weeks on end as couples about this whole event, because it's going to be very impactful on your life.
Yeah, when
Yeah.
they come back, some of them come back and they'll say, "Oh, I remember that video.
Yeah.
I needed to do it a little different."
Oh, nice. Yeah, so they've thought about it. I mean,
Oh, yes.
yeah.
It stays in their mind when and the next time that they go down in their basement they're listening for a noise, make
Oh,
sure there's not a burglar down there, and they're more aware.
Oh man, this is good stuff. I mean, really, it's really good stuff. I remember John and I were in a store one time. We were dating, and he said he just looked at me, and John's retired law enforcement. He looked at me. He said, "Leave now." And I just knew by the way he looked at me and the way he said it, I literally just dropped everything and walked out the door. And he came back a few minutes. He goes, "That guy's about to rob the store." I was
Yes.
like, "Oh my gosh," you know. But it's like, what, he's law enforcement, but what if you're not? You just see you're not really paying attention or whatever.
Exactly.
He's obviously much more observant than I am, and another couple could have found themselves in that position, and it's a little frightening. So it's really good that you talk about these things.
It can happen to anybody.
Yeah.
And it's good that if the family is in a situation like that, and the husband, and it could be the wife that's the law enforcement officer.
Sure, absolutely.
And so whoever sees that and has the protection gear that they need, then they're going to protect their family first
Mm-hmm.
and get out if they have to.
Mm-hmm.
But if things happen, the mother, the wife, needs to take those kids and get to a safe place.
Absolutely. Wow, this is some really good stuff. Well, talking about churches, Mike, I remember John telling me that when he was in Colorado Springs, there was a church shooting there, and it was actually an off-duty lady officer who ended up taking down the
Shooter.
perpetrator. Yeah. So, can you tell me a little bit about that situation and what that did kind of for making people more aware of security within the church?
Yes, it was a shooting at a family church, and there was two individuals that first engaged the shooter. One was Carl Chin, who's well known now as a national leader in church security, and then there was another young man there, and then there was an off-duty female officer who got into the engagement a little bit after they did, but she was in a position where she was able to stop the threat before it went further, because there had been kids real close and they had to move the kids. And if she hadn't have stopped him, or if the other people hadn't have, it would have been much worse. There wasn't anybody killed in that shooting, but the perpetrator definitely had that on his mind and was unsuccessful, because the church people were sheepdogs and they stopped the wolf. And that's what it's all about, is sheepdogs, security teams stopping evil wolves coming into our churches now in the 21st century with all kinds of weapons. And that's why we need church teams. It's a shame when we went to kids, we would have never thought that this was a need.
Sure.
But now the need is there, and I'm afraid it's never going to go away. We're always going to have a need to protect the churches.
Mm-hmm. Oh, wow. I was just impressed the fact that, I know this is so insignificant, but that it was a lady officer who did it, because especially at that time, how many years ago was this? This was what?
Oh, about 20 years ago. There weren't very many back then.
Exactly. And so I think it was just wonderful, like, look at how powerful she was, even though, like you said, it could have been anybody that took him down. She just had the right shot at the right moment, the right everything. But I think for women, looking at that going, oh, wow, look what she did. Look at her. She saved all these people because she knew what to do. And how eye-opening was that? Like, oh, we need to be on our game. We need to
Actually, in my opinion, women make better shooters, make better shots.
Really?
They're more accurate. Women are actually more dangerous with a weapon towards a perpetrator than a male, in my personal opinion.
Wow.
Because they listen and they don't seem to have the ego or arrogance. They will listen and learn the correct way. And once they see it has to be done, they don't hesitate. Be aware of that, guys.
That's what I was just going to say. Are y'all listening?
There's a lot of women's groups
Yes.
shooting groups that have come on the scene.
That's pretty, I think, the thing is before I met John, I had never held a gun in my life, and now we go out to the range and everything.
Mhm.
There is something about shooting a gun that is,
Empowering.
that's exactly the word I was going to say, and I'm like, I don't know if that's the right phrase, but it is empowering. And not only that, but when you walk away, first of all, you have a real respect for a weapon.
Yes.
It's like you just holding it just makes you realize how powerful that weapon is, that it can take away a life in an instant.
Yes.
Second of all, it's a good stress relief. I know when we go to the range and I shoot that gun at that target, I walk away feeling like the weight of the world has just lifted off of me. There's something about that. And that's one of the reasons why I think your company is so wonderful, because not only are you learning, but you are taking that stress out of the situation because people are more prepared. They're
Yes.
mentally more prepared. And when you kind of have run through these scenarios, I mean, the ones you showed us already were pretty empowering. Like, oh, look at this carjacker. He just came out of nowhere, and that's how fast it can happen.
Yeah.
So,
It's a split second. I mean, it's not just about the physical activity of
Mhm.
shooting, it's the mental.
yeah.
In an event, you have to make that decision when to shoot, when not to shoot, and you have to live with it for the rest of your life. So you can't get those 5 or 10 seconds back.
No.
So you have to make the right decision, and our training helps you to make that decision. It's not 100%, but it puts you in a better position to make a confident shot and decision.
Wow. So if somebody wanted to book you guys, how do they go about doing that? Is it like a long waiting list? Do they need to plan this out?
You want to go ahead and answer that?
Usually we can get them in at their convenience.
Mm-hmm.
We'll train evenings, weekends, during the day, but it just depends on if we have other clients or anything. So, but usually we're pretty accommodating.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's nice.
Yeah, as we do the scripts, we custom make the scripts. We will custom adjust our schedule for them because they come to our shoot room.
Mm-hmm.
We don't give out the address until they're booked.
Oh, wow, that's nice.
At our location, our shoot room is very private, and so we usually have maybe 15 shooting events a month, maybe,
Oh,
if
nice.
things go right.
Mm-hmm.
But we usually are just pretty accommodating. I mean, we've had people call us, can we be there at 4 o'clock? We look at our schedule. Yeah,
Oh, that's fantastic.
we're open.
That's
Just
fantastic.
give us a call.
Well, I have a feeling you guys are going to get a whole lot busier, so people probably need to plan a little bit more.
Yeah, and it can be a date or whatever, like we talked about. But 417-986-3927 is our phone
And
number.
we'll put that up there. Do you guys have a website?
We do. OzarkShoot.com.
Nice. Okay. Well, we'll put all that on the video
Okay.
too. But we're not done here. I just wanted to say that because it's so exciting. I'm
And-
like, wow, this is so much. This is great.
And when he talks to the clients, it's $40 an hour, but to get the full effect, we recommend 2 hours at a time.
Mm-hmm.
And you're pretty aware of what you need to do or what you need not to do. So.
Well, and like you said, people come back and they come back. And you know what? I can see that because when you've been in that scenario, and then you're like, oh, maybe I should have done this, and you're talking about women. I mean, women tend to be a lot more internalizing, and they probably do actually go back home and think about those things and what could I have done different. And you do want a second chance. Like, let's try this again and see how I do the second time. Not that I'm picking on men, I'm not.
No. Well, I'll tell you what. When you talk to these women and they're up there training, and you see that they're not sure if they're really able to do this,
Mm-hmm.
and then I ask them, if that was your child or grandchild, would you fire that gun?
Boom, 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 boom.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. No.
Absolutely.
Mhm.
The courage is there. But you upset mama or grandmama, you threaten those kids.
Yeah.
That perpetrator has no clue
That's
what he's
right.
in for.
That's right. Hey, I know that you guys have another picture, so let's see what we've got here. I love these pictures, by the way.
Thank you. That is a photo of me stopping a home intruder down in the basement. He's picked up a hammer and he's charging at me. He's less than 21 feet away. And so he can get to you in less than 2 seconds.
Oh, wow.
So if you don't stop him right away, then even his momentum with him being a big guy, he could hurt you or kill you with that hammer as he falls on you. So you need to be ready to move. Depending on what your position is in a room or a house, you need to be ready to move left or right, backwards. And you also need to keep in mind he may not be alone. There may be somebody in that back room. So what do you do after, if he goes down, if you stop him and he's on the ground, you want to probably get your family out safe, let law enforcement come in, let them clear it. We not only want you to win the battle, we want you to win the war.
Sure.
So if you go forward and try to take the gun or investigate, you may have a surprise. You're putting yourself in more danger. Take that win with the battle and get in a safe spot. Call law enforcement. They'll come and clear it. And then you go to the hospital because you're in shock. Okay?
Well, and what this probably doesn't portray is the fact that he's not sitting there quietly with that hammer.
He's charging.
Oh yeah.
He's charging. That causes stress.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? And you've got to process. He is going to kill me. He's going to hit me. And I've got to move or I got to shoot. And by the time all that's processed, he's there.
Yeah.
You're dead.
Yeah.
Or you're injured.
Right.
And even if you're injured, he's going to take that gun from you.
Yeah. Well, then you'll be dead.
Yes.
So, I mean, he didn't come into your home for no reason whatsoever.
Correct. He's already a felon for being there.
Right.
Then he picks up that hammer. And that may not be the only weapon.
Right. Right. That's a pretty realistic scenario right there.
Yes, it is.
How many home break-ins do you think there are in Greene County alone?
Oh, I have no clue.
I don't either, but there's got to be a lot.
I have no clue, but they are increasing. All crime is increasing. And as the chaos continues in this country, whether it's big cities or small cities, rural areas, people, there's several cases that have been around here that have happened just lately, out in the rural area. Somebody tries to steal a car. The older parents go out with a weapon and they both get killed by auto thieves.
Well,
So we know it's crucial for us to film more home invasions.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, absolutely. Just a few days ago in the news up in Springfield, I guess, home invasion, and the homeowner shot and killed the person.
Yes.
And it's like you're hearing this more and more often.
Sure.
And it could have been the other way around, home invasion.
And you don't hear about all of them.
Oh no.
You
of
only
course
hear
not.
at a small percentage.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
They can't talk about them all on the news,
Sure.
so it's only 10% that you're probably hearing about.
Oh yeah. So I do have a question as far as your business goes, just out of sheer curiosity. Like you started this business, you've been in business for a few years, you're developing. How do you market to people and try to get more people? For people who are in business for themselves, you guys are the perfect example. You've come up, you have a dream, you have a goal, you've done all of this stuff. So how do you continue to draw people to yourselves? I know you do the gun shows, but how else do you draw people to your business?
Well, we are on Facebook and we're on Instagram. And then
we do get some TV spots now and then.
Nice.
Channel 3, 10, they've done a number of spots with us. We've been on the morning shows. We do the man shows. We do conferences. I do some cold calls. We meet people all the time at churches. And so it's word of mouth. We've been on billboards. We've been on radio stations. We've been on TV, NBC Computer. So we've tried a lot, but the only thing to really let people know what a simulator is like is for them to get on it and put their weapon in their hand and shoot on a scenario.
Right.
That's the only way that they'll fully understand what a split second decision is like. You can't explain it. You've got to experience it in real life
Mhm.
or on a simulator.
And it may take them 5-10 minutes to understand what you're supposed to do.
Sure.
But once they get it, then they go for it.
Wow.
And you may be a great shot at the range. You may have grown up with firearms. You may have been in the military, law enforcement. But once you see somebody charging you, and once they're in a sanctuary full of people, your relatives, your friends, it's not the same as on the streets as an officer.
Sure.
When you are shooting in the midst of friendlies and innocent people, you can't just shoot 10 rounds. You
Right.
have to have trigger control,
Mm-hmm.
and you have to have situation awareness,
Mhm.
and you've got to make sure that you're confident in your shots. So the combination of range and simulated training is what we recommend.
Well, and we see too that if, like Mike says, in the sanctuary or a room full of people, and you've got to take the suspect out, a lot of times they'll do like we call them halo shots
Mm-hmm.
because they're not trained to shoot on the target with a bunch of people there.
Mm-hmm.
So that is eye-opening to a lot of them.
Well, and you were telling me earlier because you work on the computer. So, what do you do when you see a person like who's practicing and you're at the scenario? Can you change that scenario up if you see them starting to panic or something, or does Mike just talk to them? How do you handle a situation to get somebody to get their feelings and emotions back into control?
We would pause it, and then Mike could talk to them about it until they understand and they're calm enough again, or explain the situation, and then we can move forward.
Oh, that's really good. Yeah, because you don't want somebody losing their mind and then getting frustrated and
And they
Yeah.
may even back off and sit down. We've had people that sat down or decided they needed to leave.
oh wow.
Not too many, but
Sure.
there was a couple, and a couple of them, they were pretty hesitant. And then as we walked through, maybe do some skill builders, then they felt their confidence coming back.
Nice.
And that's good to find out. If you find out that you can't shoot the weapon, there's no use carrying it. There's
Oh
no
yeah,
use owning
absolutely.
one because you'll just lose it.
Yeah.
Somebody will take it away from you.
Mm-hmm.
But this is definitely a good tool for security and law enforcement supervisors and security directors at churches to see how their people operate in front of a simulator, because that gives them a good idea how they may operate and survive in front of a real event. And they can see their strong people and their weak people, where they need to do more training. You may have somebody who verbalizes really good
Mm-hmm.
and de-escalates, and then you may have a certain person who shoots very well, very confident. So those people you need to put in the right places.
Sure.
This is what you learn on the simulator.
Oh man, what a great training tool.
It is. It's
Oh.
great.
Yeah, that's
And we
good.
are mobile, so depending on the area or the state, we could take it to them if
Nice.
it's more convenient for them.
Sure. Oh man, people need to start booking now.
I know.
Oh, is there anything that I'm forgetting that's really important?
It's just an eye-opening, shock and awe type of experience
Mhm.
that people who have never been in front of a human confrontation, never had a fist fight,
Mhm.
never had to save themselves,
Mm-hmm.
are seeing real danger or life-threatening type of situations.
Mm-hmm.
This wakes them up from TV, movies to reality. It could happen to them. And they wake up. And that's why we have weapons in churches now, because of all the shootings in churches, and we did go to Texas and train the team in Sutherland Springs that lost 26 people, and West Freeway around Florida, around Fort Worth. I'm sorry, and they have teams now, but we trained them after their event, which is much different.
Sure.
But it was so meaningful to them. It was great.
Oh, I'll bet.
It was. They really appreciated it, and we met some really great
Oh, I'll
people.
bet.
And I think for new shooters, people that just get their CCW, they don't understand just getting a CCW is not going to help them.
Correct.
They need to train, and the simulator is a great tool for them to be able to do that.
I couldn't agree more. And like we've already said, if you're not comfortable with it, you don't need to be carrying it around.
Correct.
So this is invaluable training.
Train at the range as often as you can, at the simulator at least twice a year.
Well, and you think about $80. $80. How fast? Because you can spend $80 on anything. Just go into the grocery store.
Right.
But look at the skills that you can get for $80 that could save lives.
Right.
Yeah.
And you can have so much fun with our fun stuff. The kids love it.
Oh, I'll bet.
We have had kids as young as 6 years old get on this simulator and do great.
Well,
They just had a blast.
and they do just fun stuff.
Yeah,
Yes.
sure. Of course, they're
They
not
do
doing
fun
school
stuff.
shootings and all of that. Of course.
Right. Now we have trained teenagers in serious type of scenarios, because if they're at home by themselves, and if they're mature enough, or if they're out with their parents or at home and their parents are hurt or shot, then it's up to them to save the parents.
Wow.
So if they have the maturity and we do the assessment,
Sure.
okay, and their parents are there, then we can do that.
Right.
And the other thing, you don't need a CCW to take this course.
Oh,
Right.
that's nice.
You don't need it.
That's nice.
You just need to have common sense, and you need to be a legal gun owner and not a felon.
There you go. So do you do any kind of background checks on people when they come?
We vet our own way. A lot of times we don't have time to do that. But after 40 years in law enforcement, I ask certain questions.
Sure.
And I pretty well know who the people are, or I know the people who sent them. So we're very careful who we train.
Sure.
Because we want to save lives, all lives, and we don't want to train a bad guy or a bad girl.
Sure. Absolutely. Well, and I have no doubt with your background and experience that that's exactly what happens. I mean,
Yeah, we've been very fortunate. We had one person come not too long ago, and he admitted that he was a felon. Can you help me? I said, I'm sorry, I cannot.
Yeah.
Just
Good
the way it is.
just good for you. Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
you've got to set those limitations. It's a private company, and so we're careful about that.
Sure. Sure. Is there anything else? I want to make sure we cover a bunch of stuff because this is such a great thing. I want people to sign up now and come do this, because how fun, how I just don't even have enough words for it, because fun doesn't begin to describe it. It is fun, but it's also intense, and it's also something that you take with you mentally and you remember and you think about, and I think it's invaluable.
And we just love doing this. This is our dream, and we will be continuing to advertise. We have a big article that's coming out in the magazine in January. I
Oh,
think
nice.
I think with you guys
Yes. We have our thing right next to yours. So
yes, with Taney County.
Yep.
And we
Co-
appreciate
Community
you.
Guide. Yes,
Sorry.
we really appreciate you and John and
It's
the
our
company just
giving
us this opportunity.
we want people to be successful, first of all. First and foremost, that's what we want, is for people to be successful. Second of all, if we can help you guys, but not only help the public to know that these things are out there, absolutely. I just want people to know it. And I do want people to come and do it. Not just so you guys make money, but because I feel like it's an important thing that people need to do, and they can have fun in the meantime.
And we appreciate it. And we do offer gift certificates. So
Oh.
if they know someone
What a great Christmas idea.
Yes, that's all they got to do
Valentine's?
is
There
get in
you
touch
go.
with us, and we can take care of it.
Well, we'll put all of your contact information in the podcast so that people
Okay.
can contact you. And I'm so glad you guys came down.
Well,
And you
thank
guys
you.
were patient with us because what everyone doesn't know is that we've been building this podcast room for a while, and we've had little things that snafus, and so they've been so patient to come, and I'm just thankful y'all came.
Well, we're honored to be here.
Well,
Thank you.
Well, thanks.
Yes.
All right. Well, nice talking to you, and we'll catch up with you again soon.
Hey, and be
Thank you.
safe out there.
I will. Okay.